Hi, everyone, and great to see you today. My name is Michael, and I'm joined with Carolyn, and we'll introduce the man in the middle in just a moment. Welcome to our 28th episode now of Link Up with Loveworks, where at Loveworks, we believe that you are never too young to be a dreamer, you're never too old to get started on your dream, and you're never too young to make a difference.
You're never too old or young, right?
Never too old or young.
What if you're like in the middle somewhere?
I'm not really sure. That's the gray area. Maybe we'll get to that. Maybe you can help us with that area.
Well, our hope with Link with Loveworks is that each week, and I say each week, but each day, our special guest is going to connect with you wherever you find yourself. They're going to inspire you to become the best version of yourself for tomorrow.
Definitely, and this is a special day for us. As you can tell, our background looks a little bit different. Carolyn and I and our guest are in person, which is really, really exciting. And so while you're watching, we're also joined with a live studio audience of young dreamers and doers who are changing the world and inspire us every day to do the work that we do. I want to encourage you, if there is a future guest interview, a dreamer and doer that you're thinking, Loveworks has to be on our Link Up with Loveworks, please drop that in the comment box, and we would definitely love to potentially have them on the show in the future.
For sure. So today we're going to be doing a fun trivia question but our question of the day along with our roll call. So go ahead, drop your name, your age, where you're at in the comment section, and then answer this question. What is your favorite sport in the Olympics? What's your favorite sport, Michael?
Wow. I have a few that I like. I would have to say, though, that I was anticipating Tokyo 2020 with the introduction of 5 new sports.
Ooh.
Someone's going to have to fact check me on this, but I heard that there's a sport climbing. I think that's a thing. Mm-hmm. Karate. No, karate could have been 2016. Skateboarding, you would appreciate that.
I do appreciate that.
Surfing, and softball and baseball.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a big deal because baseball and softball were voted, I believe, out in 2016. And so, I thought that was going to be kind of neat. So I really look forward to the new sports. What about you, Carolyn?
I'm going to switch over. I'm going to do the Winter Olympics. And
Good call.
maybe those will happen. I actually really love figure skating, love watching it. It is insane to me that their heads get so close to the ice and like the blades, and I'm like, I don't know how they do it. It's pretty cool.
Doesn't even seem real. I get dizzy watching them do their figure eights.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? Is it a figure eight?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we mentioned we're in a live studio. We're going to change things up just a little bit, and we're going to ask a couple of our young dreamers and doers to make their way up here with us. And so can I have our young dreamers and doers from triathlon and from passion projects make your way, not all up at once, but up here onto the stage here. All right, come on, Colt. Awesome. Okay. So, Miss Carolyn, what do we want to find out today?
Yeah, so we have a couple students from our passion project and also a student from our triathlon group. And so we wanted to find out from you guys first. Can you share with us, like, what have you guys been up to this week? It can be related to your passion project or it could not be related to your passion project. Cole, we'll start with you.
We've been swimming, running, and biking. I think we've swim more than we've done everything else.
After today, we will.
Yes.
What's been your favorite part so far?
Biking.
Biking? Okay. Awesome. Let's pass it on to fashion.
Our group lately have been doing, we've been making masks and scrunchies.
So I have a follow-up question. How do you think fashion can help others? We've been talking about like different causes in life, and so how do you think we can use fashion to help other people?
To express how they feel sometimes, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys and girls, can you give our young dreamers and doers a big hand, please? Thank you. And speaking of dreaming and doing, that's going to lead us into our interview. We're getting close. Want to explain to you just how this works. Each week on Link Up with Loveworks, we have really a privilege and an opportunity to sit down and have an interview, a conversation with a different guest, a dreamer and a doer who we just love to share just their story and at least one of their big dreams. Of course, we know that big dreams are not easy to reach or achieve. Some of us are still going after them. There's some challenges and obstacles along the way, but those don't necessarily have to deter us from going after the big dream. If anything, that hopefully it can help us to understand that, we're not the only ones that might be experiencing a hard or a difficult time, and by seeing someone else that has succeeded can hopefully propel us from where we are today to the person that we want to be tomorrow. And so, so we love to have just a conversation, an interview, ask some questions, and also too, we'll have some interaction with our studio audience today in just a little bit.
Yes, but today we're going to start with a trivia question first to warm you up for today's interview. And so Sean here, he's actually been head coaching soccer for 17 years. And so we have a fun trivia question related to soccer. And the question is, what is a soccer field called? Spoiler alert, it's not called.
I want to encourage you, if there is a future guest interview, a dreamer and doer that you're thinking, Loveworks has to know, has to be on our link up with Loveworks, please drop that in the comment box, and we would definitely love to potentially have them on the show in the future.
For sure. So today we're going to be doing a fun trivia question trivia question, but our question of the day along with our roll call. So go ahead, drop your name, your age, where you're at in the comment section, and then answer this question. What is your favorite sport in the Olympics?
That's a good one.
What's your favorite sport, Michael?
Wow. I have a few that I like. I would have to say, though, that I was anticipating Tokyo 2020 with the introduction of 5 new sports.
Ooh.
Someone's going to have to fact check me on this, but I heard that there's a sport climbing. I think that's a thing. Mm-hmm. Karate. No, karate could have been 2016. Skateboarding. You would appreciate that.
I do appreciate that.
Surfing and softball and baseball.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a big deal because baseball and softball were voted, I believe, out in 2016. And so, I thought that was going to be kind of neat. So I really look forward to the new sports. What about you, Carolyn?
I'm going to switch over. I'm going to do the Winter Olympics. And
Good call.
maybe those will happen. I actually really love figure skating, love watching it. It is insane to me that their heads get so close to the ice and like the blades, and I'm like, I don't know how they do it. It's pretty cool.
Doesn't even seem real. I get dizzy watching them do their figure eights.
They're doing
am I saying that right? Is it a figure eight?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we mentioned we're in a live studio. We're going to change things up just a little bit, and we're going to ask a couple of our young dreamers and doers to make their way up here with us. And so can I have our young dreamers and doers from triathlon and from fashion passion projects make your way not all up at once, but up here onto the stage here. All right, come on, Colt. Awesome. Okay. So, Miss Carolyn, what do we want to find out today?
Yeah, so we have a couple students from our fashion passion project and also a student from our triathlon group. And so we wanted to find out from you guys first. Can you share with us, what have you guys been up to this week? It can be related to your passion project or it could not be related to your passion project. Colt, we'll start with you.
We've been swimming, running, and biking. I think we've swim more than we've done everything else.
After today, we will.
Yes.
What's been your favorite part so far?
Biking.
Biking. Okay. Awesome. Let's pass it on to fashion.
Our group lately have been doing, we've been making masks and scrunchies.
So I have a follow-up question. How do you think fashion can help others? We've been talking about different causes in life, and so how do you think we can use fashion to help other people?
To express how they feel sometimes, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well,
Guys and girls, can you give our young dreamers and doers a big hand, please? Thank you. And speaking of dreaming and doing, that's going to lead us into our interview. We're getting close. Want to explain to you just how this works. Each week on Link Up with Loveworks, we have really a privilege and an opportunity to sit down and have an interview, a conversation with a different guest, a dreamer and a doer who we just love to share just their story and at least one of their big dreams. Of course, we know that big dreams are not easy to reach or achieve. Some of us are still going after them. There's some challenges and obstacles along the way, but those don't necessarily have to deter us from going after the big dream. If anything, that hopefully it can help us to understand that, you know, we're not the only ones that might be experiencing a hard or a difficult time, and by seeing someone else that has succeeded can hopefully propel us from where we are today to the person that we want to be tomorrow. And so, so we love to have just a conversation, an interview, ask some questions, and also too, we'll have some interaction with our studio audience today in just a little bit.
Yes, but today we're going to start with a trivia question first to warm you up for today's interview. And so Sean here, he's actually been head coaching soccer for 17 years. And so we have a fun trivia question related to soccer. And the question is, what is a soccer field called? Spoiler alert, it's not called a soccer field.
And this is
This is like real trivia.
this is real trivia.
Yeah.
Okay. Wikipedia says it's.
Yeah, this is real. Do
'Cause
you know what it
Wikipedia
is?
tells us
Okay,
all things.
yeah, Sean's
Okay.
got it.
Well, oh, you got it. Okay. We'll get there in just so drop. If you know the answer, let me read this. What is a soccer field called? Drop that in the comment box. We'll have a special prize that we are going to deliver to you at your house. So let's get started. Meet our dreamer and doer, Sean McMannis.
Sean McMannis is head coach soccer with over 17 years of coaching experience. From high schools, clubs, colleges to semi-pro, he has coached in California, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Sean holds multiple soccer licenses and earned a master's degree in coaching and athletic administration from Concordia University. His dedication to each player reaches beyond just the technical and tactical aspects of the game. His passion is to strengthen and shape the character through sports, use brain training techniques to develop the whole player, and unite the team. Sean has been married to his partner, Rihanna McMannis, since 2007, and they have 2 daughters and 1 son.
Hey, who are joined with us in the studio today. Yeah. I love it. Let's give it up for Sean, please. Sean, glad to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
So, Sean, you are not originally from the great state of Oklahoma.
No.
So you grew up in California, and we would love to start there. You may just have to rewind a couple of years, like me, back to your childhood.
Yep.
But can you tell us just a little bit about life growing up in California, your family, and you as a kid? What can your daughters and son learn about you today?
Yeah, so grew up in southern Orange County in California, kind of near, you guys probably maybe know of Disneyland, so near Disneyland area. Grew up with 3 younger sisters. I was the oldest, family of 6. Grew up surfing, playing multiple sports, church, and just being out really with my family a lot of times. We would go hiking and camping and backpacking and just kind of throughout the summers. Dad worked hard. He was an accountant. Mom was at home with us and just got to just enjoy just the lifestyle in California and everything like that. So, yeah, it was good.
And so you made a decision to move to Oklahoma and
Yeah.
leave all that?
Yeah, so I've moved multiple times. We've gone from, went to college in Los Angeles area. From there, I went out to Kansas to go coach college soccer. Went back to California to coach college again, and then moved here to Oklahoma to coach soccer out here in this state. And so I've been out here for over 2 years. Okay. So, yeah, been moving the family which way and everywhere, and they definitely some days don't like me for it, but they're doing good now.
Well,
So.
you've been here 2 years, so hopefully we're going to keep you here for just a little while longer.
Nope. We just a new project I'll share a little bit later. We're here for a while, so that's great.
So it sounds like you probably picked up sports from a really young age. Did you know from a young age this is the direction that you wanted to go?
So sports was huge in my family. I remember as a little kid, my parents would do cross-country races or 5Ks, 10Ks, things like that, and they would just drag me along. So I was probably definitely like 5 or 6, probably did the first race and then just kept going with there. Then it entered me into track races. I played soccer. My dad surfed, so we would go surfing. So everything was very active, interactive, just sport after sport. Dad started coaching me in soccer, fell in love with that. But career-wise, it wasn't until college. I got injured in college, so I left college because if I can't go to college for sports, I just left, went home, tried to figure out what I wanted to do. So I would surf. I literally surfed every day for an entire year, living near the water, and I got asked to coach soccer. And I was 19 years old, and I was like, well, I don't really know anything about soccer. So I tried it. My team ended up going undefeated for the first time that school had ever done it, and just fell in love. And was like, okay, what do I got to do this the rest of my life? And then went and got a master's degree and just kind of kept pursuing my passion on that side. But I definitely dabbled in, I worked at an accounting firm. I tried construction company. I shined shoes for a little bit. I mean, I've kind of done it all. But coaching's been my passion for the last, 17 plus years now. So.
Wow. Thank you for sharing about your passion and some of the detours along the way. So you were also looking forward to surfing being in the 2020 Olympics.
Oh, completely. Yeah, my dad still surfs with all of my close friends back home in Orange County and sends pictures to us, making me jealous that he's out in the water while we're, enjoying the heat.
Right. Well, we're in landlocked Oklahoma with Lake Thunderbird, but it's awesome. So we haven't introduced the book yet, which we will, but this next question is going to pull a little bit from it, and still kind of hanging out here just in childhood. And so it could be elementary years, middle school, or even high school. But is there a particular performance memory that you have as a kid?
So I called my mom last night, obviously asking her what's my best performance. I can't recall many more because with my coaching, I've been more excited for what my teams have done lately than what I did as a young kid. But my mom did recall one where I was a freshman in high school, went to a school about 3,000 kids, and then there's high schools literally down the street with another 3,000 down the street. California's pretty impacted, or a lot of numbers. And so as a freshman, I was running cross country, and the last race to go on to state, or it's CIF Southern Section, which means nothing for you guys. But the state was we had Northern California and Southern California, so many people, so we did Southern Section, Northern Section, then from there the best would go play state, basically. And so I was a freshman, my last race, and I ended up taking second in my age group. Hit a decent time of 16:31 as a freshman for a 3-mile. That was the 7th fastest time for my overall the entire high school that day. And so I got picked up to go on to the varsity team as a freshman, and then go on to state and everything like that. But a big honor for me was I was excited because if you got varsity, you got the Letterman jacket. And that was a big deal when I grew up. You had the leather jacket and everything like that. So I wore my Letterman jacket every day. It was 100 degrees. It didn't matter. I wore it, rain or shine. Looking back, it's kind of embarrassing that I did that. I thought I was really cool, but maybe I wasn't. But made that team, and that was just super excited. That kind of propelled me for all my other sports. Okay. So, yeah.
If you don't mind, I got to ask a question. Carolyn, did you by chance wear anyone's Letterman's jacket?
No, I did not.
No? Okay. We're in the same boat. I didn't give any away either. I didn't have one. I didn't
have
quite
one
get to
either.
that stature.
He's also quite faster. I think it takes me longer than 16 minutes to run a mile. So.
and name young dreamers and doers you may not recognize, but Floyd Bannister would be proud of Sean's time in the 3-mile.
For sure. So let's fast forward a little bit. Now you have a company called Compete Well. Can you tell us where this dream came from?
Yeah, so I formed a company in January called Compete Well, and what it is that I met my business partner. She's a professional sports psychologist, certified mental performance coach. She's from the East Coast. I was in Boston, or Massachusetts, excuse me, at a soccer camp, and I met her, and she was a really great young coach. We had like-minded approach, how we approached the athletes, our soccer players. I asked her a question, we just kept talking, and then I went home back to California. She went back to New York, where she was from. I emailed her later going, hey, I have an issue with one of my soccer teams. Can you help me? What can I do? So she responded, and I went, P.S., how cool would it be to write a book for young performers on the mental side of your performance, helping you on the mental side? And she said, yeah, let's do it. And I thought she was joking, so I literally wrote little, like, I'll probably just say 2 pages of notes of how to write a book. And then she sent me over, I would say, over hundreds of pages of activities that she has been doing. And I had to ask her, I was like, what do you do for a living? Like, I thought you just coach soccer. She's like, no, I'm a professional of this. And I was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. So I partnered up with her to write our first book of, we have others that we want to do. And this is our foundations book of owning who you are.
That's a really, really big deal. I'd love to ask you, if you don't mind, and we're gonna get to I think an exercise here with it. But can you give us an idea of just the framework and what this looks like? And even I'm just thinking just through the lens right now, if there may be a superintendent, there may be a school district that is watching or listening to this. So how does the model work?
So for this first book, it is designed for anybody. So just curious in the crowd, I don't know if we can do this, but who plays sports out here? Anybody? Nice. Who does music and arts or dance or anything like that? Gymnastics. Awesome. What about any other great hobbies? Anything else? Do you have other hobbies outside of this? Love it. Perfect.
I think you got 100% hands up.
Okay, cool. So this book we created this just for you. Okay, and what we've done is that we have made this really it's more of an interactive workbook where it feels like you're sitting down with me or my business partner, Amanda, and going through your foundation. And what that means is that we're trying to build this well within you. Okay, what that means is that there are things that you are starting to do and you're going to remember them. Like, oh, I accomplished this. Oh, I remember when I drew this, or I did this music performance, or I scored this goal. Right? You remember that. You're going to build that within you, inside of you. So we're going to help you really develop that, build that a little bit deeper and deeper for a future situation. And then from there, we're going to teach you how to breathe. I've heard you guys maybe doing some breathing activities or talk about maybe just connecting to your breath. Yeah. We're going to teach you how to breathe within our workbook. Also with breathing, we're going to teach you how to breathe when times get tough. It's one thing before I got here, I did my breathing routine, but it's another thing when I'm in the middle of a situation and like, I can't breathe, right? So we help you develop that with a mantra, a cue word, or a visual picture. And then from there, we go into your core values. We help you develop your core values. So we identify with the core value, kind of pick them. We get to connect with it. We're going to challenge it, and then we're going to set a goal. Everything that needs to happen needs to set a goal, which you guys kind of do at the end of the day, right? We set goals, and that's how we're going to move forward. We do that with core values. We do that with character, which we kind of touched upon. We'll touch on in a second. And then we also do gratitude, which I've heard you guys been doing also. So the idea is, you want me to, I'll keep going, sorry. If I get preachy, I'm sorry, I'm preachy.
This is good. I'm taking mental notes right now.
So the idea, if you go through our first book and what's called Own Who You Are, right? You should truly know who you are and what you stand for so that you can go and conquer anything that you want to do and get to that dream that you guys are talking about.
So good. Well, that's a great segue. Let's get into the book. We're going to have a demonstration exercise that we're going to do here in the live studio, but those of you that are watching, certainly something that you can do. A big part of Loveworks programming that you may hear a lot about has to do with our project-based learning. Several businesses that have started out of Loveworks, and while we do place emphasis and focus on that, but 50% of our programming is also on character development. And so, Sean, I'm really glad that you picked this segment out of the book. And so, Sean, we'll turn it over to you, and we're going to focus on identifying character traits.
Okay, so it's pretty easy. So, if you'd like.
Yeah, I can hold the other one.
Absolutely. I feel like Vanna White over here.
My two
You all know
lovely
Vanna?
assistants.
You know Vanna?
Wow.
A couple, maybe.
Excited group
The
this
older
morning.
faces in the room. Okay.
So what some of you guys did, and then obviously when you guys got here, is that these are a list of character traits that we actually have identified in our book. About 60 to 70 of them. And all it is that we want you to kind of read through them and start identifying what you feel you connect with. Okay? The beauty about character is that character, you have a choice, kind of what you want to do and how you want to do it. So there's days where, you know what, I want to be smart, right? And so how do I do that? You know, I need to read more books. I need to educate myself. I need to prepare myself. So character is always changing, but also with character, you're never one thing 100% of the time. So the simple one that kind of Amanda talks about is, who, raise your hand if you say you would like to say that, anybody wrote that they were smart? Anybody? Oh, I love it. Okay, let me ask you this. Are you smart 100% of the time, though? No? Right? It's impossible to be something 100% of the time. So let me ask you this. So if you failed, you got a C, does that make you not smart anymore? Or does that make you dumb? No, it doesn't mean, it just means you're still smart. Exactly. So what we talk about in our book is our emotional management, okay? I'm going to grab my notes on this real quick. So the first thing, so we're going to keep going with the SMART idea, is that we want to build awareness. Okay, so say if you take that test and you got a B or C, right? We have to accept, what does that make you feel inside? Are you angry, frustrated, maybe disappointed, happy? What do you think? Go ahead.
I think it's like I'm okay. I tried my hardest, but let's encourage myself and say I can make it better in the next one.
Cool. So she says she felt okay, wants to get better. So the first thing is kind of accepting that emotion, how you feel. Accepting where you're at. So if I got that B or C, it's more like, hey, realistically, maybe the test was really hard. Maybe I didn't study. So I'm accepting the reality of the situation. Now, to get back to maybe remembering that I am smart, we have to affirm who you are. So the cool thing about these is that we kind of had you pick 3, or maybe you only picked 1 or 2. These like are I am statements. So for me, I am athletic, I am kind, and I'm goofy. Those are kind of my I ams that I stand for, that I want. So if, again, going back to the smart comment and say, I am smart, well, you've just failed, so I've accepted the reality, but now I'm going to affirm myself, I am smart. Okay? And then the next thing is that we want to aim. We're just going to go, you know what? I want to get an A next time. So how am I going to do that? Now I need to take action. You know what? I'm going to study a little bit harder. I'm going to be a little more disciplined, and now I've moved on. So with your character list, you can now get back to who you are, remembering what you stand for, and you can do this in sports, right? Oh, you missed the goal. Oh, instead of thinking I suck, no, I'm strong, I'm fast, I'm whatever it may be to get back into the situation that we're at. But you have to accept the reality and then kind of move forward from there. So that's just kind of what you guys did. So realize when you guys go throughout today or your activity, instead of thinking so far on the negative, remember that emotion, what you feel, okay. Accept the reality, okay. And remind yourself of who you are and what you stand for, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Thank you. Sean, I do need to ask, the penmanship on these posters, did you write that or did you have some help?
Let's be honest now. My wife came up with this idea to do this today. I was distracted, and this is her writing.
We're grateful for our better halves, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
So thanks for giving us that example, just making it, bottom line practical for us. Love for you to give us an example of someone who has a story, someone who has perhaps, worked through part of this brain training and workbook, had a chance maybe to, just work with you. And what if some of the results look like?
That's a great question. The book's only been out for a few months, so we're still collecting data on that one. Yeah. But for the most part, with with teams that I do with soccer, individuals that we've done training, and with Amanda, it's just we're seeing that if you imagine your emotions so up and down, like a wave, right? And things get tough, okay? And some days, we feel unbalanced. If we don't know what we stand for, you're just going to be pushed. You're going to be pushed away from all what life hits you at sometimes, right? Especially with COVID. Let's be honest now. Who felt has COVID been really fun for you guys, or has it kind of been difficult? It's been difficult, right? So if you didn't know who you are and what you stand for, some people, it's been a lot harder for others, right? But remind yourself again who you are and whatnot. So we've seen more the growth on that side of not such the lows of life and the highs, just really keeping more of ease and still. And then also just with my teams, it's been more the teamwork, acceptance, coming together. Now, not only now, if you guys notice the stars that we had over there, did you guys notice that some of you also put the same stars next to other people? So there's people out there that have the same characteristics as you. That doesn't mean we're exactly the same. I might have something similar, but also different ones, which this is the beauty of everybody, is that we have something relatable and sometimes something completely different. And so accepting that and understanding that has brought people more connected and together, which is really needed today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, little segue here. You mentioned COVID, and I read an article that I'd love for you to speak into. So this is one of your articles, so not just a random one that I read, but we're talking about how to cope. And I think it can be universally said. I mean, even just looking at our young dreamers and doers, every single one of us in this studio have been affected by it. And so can you talk with us about just some mechanisms and how do you cope with something like that does come unexpectedly across our paths, and how can we respond to it?
Yeah, so just going through, again, our emotional management. So Amanda, my partner, she wrote that article. So again, building that awareness, that acknowledgement. So in our book, and it might be hard to see, but we have all these emojis, okay? I'm guessing if you guys have a phone or tablet, you guys know exactly what emojis are, right? I don't really use them, but in our book, we completely use them, okay? Which is really great. And so the first thing is that we want to identify that emotion that you're feeling. Emotions are good, but we just need to know what to do with them, and we got to know what we're feeling. Instead of, when mom and dad ask you guys, hey, how are you feeling? What do you guys usually say? Okay, I'm fine, right? That's a pretty consistent answer with you guys. But if you can actually start identifying what you feel, so what did COVID make you feel? From there, you go, okay, you know what? It made me, let's go through my list real quick. It makes me cautious now. I'm anxious. I'm paranoid. These are real emotions. Now from there, I can go, okay, now let's accept reality. What's the reality right now? Reality is that we're all kind of stuck inside. Obviously, you guys have an awesome opportunity here being out of it finally, but there's other states that are still shut down, right? But the reality is that we're stuck at home. It's a different time, so we have to adjust. We need to, how to figure out, set the next goals and what to do in life. And then for the affirmation part, right, that third part, remind yourself again who you are. I am a friendly person. I am athletic. I am hardworking. But can I do that stuff when I'm stuck at home? What do you guys, do you think only your character comes out in sports or your performance? No, it actually comes out all throughout the day. We just got to know what to do with it and how to go about it. So we have to kind of rearrange how we deal with it at home. Mm-hmm. So if I'm hardworking, if I said I'm hardworking on the soccer field, am I hardworking at home? Well, okay, what does that look like? Maybe I got to do more dishes, right? I don't like to do dishes, but I'm going to hard work and do my dishes or clean my room. And that's going to then give back to people on the other side, our mom and dad, my brother, sister, and care for them, which is just awesome. So in this time, you kind of have to who you are and how to deal with it at home, which is great, accept the emotions of it. And then you got to also make sure that you give time to process this stuff and give yourself a little time to maybe do a breathing routine, maybe do some yoga, relaxation, to make sure that you are in a good spot to really be your best throughout the day.
No, that's good. Well, you were reading my mail, I think, mentioning dishes here. That may not, I was going to raise my hand here. We're going to turn the corner in just a moment, and we want to hear if you have any other PSs or big dreams on your heart. I'm sure that you do. But can you give us a plug for the workbook? You mentioned that you're going to be working on some others. It's been out for 3 months, but for the young dreamers and doers to hear, or those that are watching or listening, where can we find the book?
So you can go to my website, compete-well.com. That's about the best bet to go and purchase this book. Also, encourage your coaches or your administrators or teams like that we want to get this in the hands of as many people as possible. We really do feel like this next generation, you guys in particular out here, the more you can know about yourself and who you are, the more you're going to be able to accomplish. Right. Instead of being swayed by the influence of people telling you, why won't you do this and that, those kind of things, you can know who you are and stand strong to that. And I think more people they want to be drawn to individuals that really know who they are compared to those people that are just wavering side to side. And so, yeah, go to our website, check it out, look at our free resources that we have online also under resources. And then next big dreams for me is, so I just started a new soccer club literally a month ago. It's called Sporting Oklahoma, and that's been a huge dream of mine for a while, to be my own or run a club of that magnitude. It's with Sporting Kansas City, the professional MLS team. We're an affiliate of theirs. So that's been a really fun dream. It's hard work. It's lots of failures and ups and downs, which is good. And then the other thing with the company is that we do a plan to go with book 2, book 3, and any other resources that we could help you guys out, we want to build that and come together with it.
Well, Loveworks is on board with that. Each of our Dreamers and Doers this week, and then our second week of Summer Link Camp, will be getting a copy of the workbook. So data coming your way.
For sure. And thanks for just sharing about how that identity piece is so important, that we have to be secure in our identity and know who we are, our values, and our character traits. That's important. So, and I know especially during our middle school, high school years, how formative that is, that identity piece. And so could you share with us, like, if you could go back in time, share some advice with your middle school or high school self, what would you say to yourself?
For me, it's kind of weird. So sports was my passion, what my parents told me to go do, and it became my job. What I mean by that is that instead of having to go out and get maybe just a little summer job, things like that, I had to go train, which, don't get me wrong, I loved it. But I think looking back, I wish I had an opportunity to maybe go work at Chick-fil-A or go work at a coffee shop and kind of build. Yeah, exactly. But just to build that connection with what actual work is, instead of, I get to play. Let's be honest now. I get to go and kick a soccer ball all around. So that's one thing. And then also maybe telling myself is to look at others a little bit more. Wearing that Letterman jacket, as I said earlier, was pretty cool, but it's pretty just self-centered in my opinion. Looking back at it, it has all the badges and literally it's filled. But at the end of the day, that really had no value or worth. It's more the connections that you build and caring for others. So maybe doing more community service things or outreaches or things like that to really give back and show that I cared for others. I do coach and I'm with kids nonstop. But a deeper level of that when I was younger would have been, I think, I wouldn't have had to learn so much growing up. Simple as that.
I think we're all nodding our heads up here for sure. Well, Sean, as we begin to wrap things up, you are going to join other good company that have answered this question. And it's called our last minute link up. And this is really an opportunity where we just want to bring it all together and we want to turn you loose and give you 1 minute. Carolyn looks like she's setting up her stopwatch over here. You're familiar with stopwatches, aren't you? Oh, yes. Okay. So we're going to give you 1 minute to share whatever is on your heart to be able to encourage the big dreamers here in our live studio and the big dreamers that are watching. So Sean, are you ready?
Sure.
All right. Set. Carolyn, are you ready?
I'm ready.
And go.
For you big dreamers, be willing to fall, fail, mess up, screw up, and to continue to push forward on that dream. This book took literally almost 2 years to fully develop and write, right? My education in school, I had poor grades. I am not a writer. I am not an author, but the dream was there, and we continued just to push it out day by day. And then what I did is that I brought people that were good at what they're able to do and surrounded myself with them. So I failed many of times. This didn't work out, and then finally did. I brought the right people. So make sure you guys bring the right people around you that's going to encourage you to get where you want to go. And that's going to be the beauty and joy of your venture. And it's going to be worth so much more in the long run when you've kind of gone through all this and the people around you really care for and love. How'd I do?
55 seconds. Pretty good. Yeah.
Done.
Killed it.
That was awesome. And I love how you share about, when you have this dream, you may not have all of the tools within yourself, but you have the resources and there are people around you who can help you with that dream. So thank you for sharing that. Students, I hope you heard that. If you have a dream within you that maybe you feel like I don't have all the tools yet, and that's okay. There are people around you who do and that are willing to help you and pursue that. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, as our live studio audience are thinking of questions, Sean, we're not going to ask you to go anywhere, but hang tight, practice some breathing, and we're going to have some questions that are going to come your way. So either from our live studio audience or those that right now are viewing on YouTube. And while you're thinking of those questions, we want to remind just everybody about a couple of things, and they, of course, have to do with all things digital, which can be found on our website at loveworksleadership.org. And I'm going to turn it over to Carolyn just to be able to share for just a moment about our newest block of leadership that we just released this week. So I believe we're on block number 3, which means we have 10 courses that are already viewable that are out there.
11.
11.
It's 11 courses. So we just started our new block of lessons. It's called 30 Seconds. And what it is we're going to give you options to learn in 30 seconds, different choices that you can make that don't take a lot of time, but they're going to impact your leadership and the way that you influence people around you. And so our first lesson is called 30 Seconds of Wonder. And it's all about keeping your eyes open, being curious, and being open to new ideas, and seeing that the world is not just the way that it is, but that you can actually change the world. Next week, I'm really excited. This one's going to be a kind of a serious lesson. It's going to be called 30 Seconds of Empathy. And it's going to be about how we can connect with people on an emotional level to understand them and understand their story. To really be able to be a great leader, we have to be able to understand people's stories.
Absolutely. And we mentioned that we do have another summer link camp that is getting ready to kick off. Yes, in less than 2 weeks. So the week of June 29th, and there are a few spots still remaining for that, either in person or virtually. So wherever you live, there are going to be some options for you to be able to tune in and to be able to receive great opportunities like interviews that you just heard today. I see hands already, Miss Carolyn, so we may have a few questions. Are we ready?
I got one from our virtual student.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a question, but his name is Will. He believes he knows you. He says hi.
Hey, Will, how are you? Sounds good.
All right, let's take a question. Miss Corey? Oh, that's a great question. So Corey asks, what advice would you give to someone who has a fixed mindset?
Wow.
She's going deep.
Fixed mindset. So just kind of, can you elaborate just a little bit more? What's your what do you mean by a fixed mindset for you? Is it
As a fixed mindset, somebody who tries something and if they fail, they're like, oh, I can't do this, I'm going to give up, I'm going to try something.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to what's easy and what I know and what I'm good at.
Yeah, so it's more like the black and white thinking. What we kind of call it is that it's either I'm smart or I'm dumb, right? You can never be anything 100% of the time, so you have to be able to be willing to kind of be a little bit less of that 100%, right? I'm athletic, but I had surgery 3 months ago, so I'm literally, I'm supposed to be in physical therapy today, and I'm sorry that I missed it. So I'm relearning how to walk right now. So can I say that I'm athletic? Not right now, but I really am. Does that make sense? So be not so drastic of has to be this or that. You can never be anything 100% of the time, right? You're going to fail. So understand, be flexible with that. Breathe into it, accept the reality, and kind of keep going for it,
Let's take a question from Miss Hannah.
What age groups are your soccer club?
Great question. So we will have, so for Sporting Oklahoma, for us, we do anything from 6-year-olds, so a 2014 birth year, all the way up to our 19-year-olds that are 2002 birth year. And we have everything in between that.
That's awesome. Let's take a question from Miss Zoe. No, not Miss Zoe, Miss Isabel.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah. So Miss Isabel asks, what is your favorite color?
Definitely blue for me. Just reminds me of the ocean.
Team Blue. We got some cheers from that.
Can we go in the back?
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Jasmine. Okay, the question is for Miss Jasmine, what is your favorite animal?
I got two. I got my flying guy. I'm an eagle. I love an eagle. And then I love dolphins.
Ooh. Is that also for football?
There was a gasp
Nope.
here in the
Nope.
Let's do a question for Mr. Sam. Ooh, okay. So Sam asks, what is your favorite kids show?
So right now, my kids are watching the Scooby-Doo stuff. So, or Wesley's been watching like Star Wars Lego movies. So definitely the Star Wars Lego movies right now are pretty good. So,
All right, get your seatbelt ready. Mr. Braden. Okay, question is, what has been one of the biggest struggles that you've experienced so far, and how did you overcome it?
yeah. So everywhere I've been, there's been positives, there's been negatives. Trying to deal with a culture or trying to work with other people sometimes, and so you have to be willing to I've had to learn to kind of let things go sometimes. The things I can control are only myself. That's the only thing you can control in life. I can't control what others say to me or how people perceive me. So with that knowledge of just that control, if I can control myself, well, then what can I do? Then I can be kinder, I can care, I can work hard, things like that. And pushing through that, so not allowing outside people dictate how I see things and want to do things, and not allow it to infect me or emotionally just scar me or hurt me too much, and just kind of let it go and focus on what I need to do. And that's why pushing forward to making the book and then starting my own soccer club. It's like I kind of had to put things to rest to move forward to the next thing. So control what you can control, and that's yourself.
Let's do one more.
Do another question, Mr. Jude. So Jude asks, why did you get into soccer?
Soccer, so I did soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, track and field, cross country, surfing, skiing, snowboarding. So we could kind of keep going, which is, I love it. For me, soccer was everything that I have done into one. What I mean by that, my gymnastics skill of, I can do backflips and things like that. Before surgery, I could still do this stuff. In a soccer game, if I got fouled, I'd actually just do a flip out of it. So I got to do soccer that way. Surfing, I was more like relaxed, hanging out. I was pretty chill. Soccer, there's moments where I get to be that free-flowing guy too. And there's just something about kicking a ball really hard and sometimes hitting people. That's just a lot of fun. And then with my cross-country and track and field background, like I can run all day. I had a nickname in college. They started calling me Dash, and kind of like the Incredibles kid. That was my nickname in like my senior year of college because I got fast, but also I could just go all day. So soccer is just the best sport. Let's be honest, the best sport.
So just to bring some clarification, because I already received an email. So contact sports. You're meaning contact sport, right?
Hey, you gotta hit people sometimes.
Well, Sean.
Not physically, like soccer under the rules of the game.
Well, we want to thank you. This has been a really great privilege for just our organization to be able to come in contact with you and your family and with your partner. And we're just excited. Thank you for giving us real, practical, relevant tools that can definitely help us better to go after not only the big dreams, but to be doers and to be able to persevere and to be able to push through. So we're definitely better for it.
No, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Well, we just want to remind you as we wrap things up, if you're interested in our digital resources, all things leadership that you can access anywhere, anytime, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you can find all that and more at loveworksleadership.org.
And remember, real leaders, they don't blend in, they stand out.
Dream big.
And do your dream.